Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Once again, so happy, so happy, feeling refreshed, and oh man, rested, feeling good, feeling really, really good. Why is that? Because I feel like I don't know. It feels like the best way I know to describe it is imagine that you are you are at home and some terrible weather comes in with heavy storms, heavy winds, lightning, thunder. The cats are freaking out. The dogs are barking. They won't be quiet. The children are upset. Whatever. Everybody is upset. And you're the one that has to weather it, right? You're the one that has to keep everybody calm. It's very stressful. And you go through 4 days of that, right? 4 days of this terrible weather, and everybody really upset about it, and there's not a whole lot you can do. But finally, you have an opportunity when the bad weather passes. Everything outside is really kind of messed up. The whole neighborhood is messed up. Lots of things are flooded, maybe. Lots of things are just looking so bad. But you can finally walk outside and take a deep breath after a long rest. Finally, you get a long, quiet rest. And you come outside and you can start to clean up and get life more back to normal. I feel like that's the way that's the way today is for the Astros. That's my feeling today. Several things have changed for the Astros recently, and for me at the same time. And I think it's interesting how it lines up. And everybody knows that the Astros are struggling right now, and there are a bunch of questions in the air. We got guys on the injured list. When are they going to come back? And when they do come back, how much can we depend on them? What are they going to offer us? What about trades? What are we going to be able to get from that? Speaking of that, let's take a look at the transactions for today. See if the Astros. Jacob Melton was activated from the 10-day injured list. For those of you who do not know, that happened today. John Singleton apparently goes back down to the minors. Also happened today. I guess they moved Singleton down to make room for Melton. I would have preferred them move Hummel down. Move Hummel down and bring Melton up. Geaux went to the Spaceland, or Sugarland Spaceland, the Sugarland Space Cowboys. So the Space Cowboys have Louis Guillorme. Guillorme continuing to try to work his way back. Anything else going on? That's it for today. Just those three moves. So Singleton goes down. Melton comes up. Guillorme is with the Cowboys. The Space Cowboys. There we go. Here's some of those guys working their way back. Javier Arguetti, Garcia, France, and Melton. Garcia has pitched 8.1 innings. Arrighetti has pitched 9.2. Javier 7. JP France 3.1 with 2 starts, 5 strikeouts, in 3.1 innings. That's pretty good. I like JP France. He's a cool cat. I was take a quick look at the Astros starting lineup for today. Oh, by the way, they just announced this on the Space City network, but Jeremy Pena is back in Houston, and he's expected to play tomorrow with Sugarland. So there you go. Anybody interested in going over there to see Jeremy Pena, you have an opportunity. The Tram is going to be leading it off for the Astros today. He's batting first and in right field. Taylor Trammell. Batting second is Altuve, and he'll be in left field today. Third batter, Victor Caratini as DH. Batting fourth is Walker, Christian Walker. He'll be at first base, obviously. And Melton is in the game. Jacob Melton, batting fifth. It would be nice for him. Wouldn't it be nice for him to just have a blow-up game, first game back, and just light it up? How awesome would that be? Put some fire into the middle of the lineup there. Yainer Diaz catching today, batting sixth. Mauricio Dubon batting seventh at third base. Bryce Matthews, of course, at second base today, since Altuve's in left, batting eighth. And then in the ninth slot, again, is Zach Short, who is at shortstop. Christopher Jr. So being a Chris yourself, you must think he's an okay guy. Well, I've seen a lot of Brandons in the lineup. Not just the Astros lineup. I've seen a few other Brandons come up. And that happens to be my first name. I've actually toyed with changing my name legally over the years, just because it's one of those things where I feel like it's very personal to you. And if you have a good relationship with your family, you don't really think about it, I think. But if you don't have a good relationship with your family, sometimes you start thinking, do I really want to carry around a name that they gave to me? I'd like to choose something that better represents who I am now. So I've been thinking about changing it. That's why I don't often say my name here, because it happens to be my legal name, but I'm not necessarily gung-ho on going by that name. Maybe that's TMI. Fox at bat, I agree. Little by little, normality will be restored to the Astros lineup. We hope. Yes, I think it will be. That's why I've told people, don't be too upset. It'll be okay. Fromber is warming up on the mound. We'll be ready to go in just a moment. Let me grab my fan right quick. It's going to be a much warmer day here today than it was yesterday. Last night felt really good. Nice and cool. There's Melton. Melton out in center field. Altuve in left. Trammell and right. There's Bryce Matthews at second base. Diaz behind the plate. We're ready to go. Fromber has the call. Here comes the first pitch. Fouled off. 96. C.J. Abrams at the plate. Oh, Chris, when you said C.J., are you talking about C.J. Abrams, the batter? Because the pitcher's not C.J. I just realized that. Here's a pitch. Low and inside. Another foul ball. 0-2. Yeah, that's right. That's what you're talking about. You're talking about the leadoff batter. Ball's in the dirt for ball one. Here's the 1-2. A little low and outside. And they say he went. How about that? Couldn't hold up on the check swing. Abrams goes down. Strike 3. Yeah, I couldn't hold up. Hey, Texas Dave. Hello from Japan. Hello from Hiroshima, Japan. Alex Call comes to the plate. One away. Nobody on here in the top of the first. Astros wearing their Space City gear. Here comes the next pitch. 97 miles an hour, just a little outside and low for ball one. Are they going to be coming out with new Space City or City Connect uniforms every year? Here's the pitch. Just a little low, ball two. What do you guys think about that? I feel that coming out with new City Connect jerseys every year is too much. To me, it feels like a money grab. I was just thinking about that today, actually. Swing and a miss on the 2-0 pitch. 90-mile-per-hour changeup. The time right now, my friend, is 9:14 a.m. Here's the next pitch. This is hit out to right field, but Trammell gets it. Line drive. Hit pretty well, but right at Trammell. He was able to scoot over and get it. 2 away. I wonder how many of my subscribers and listeners are actually in Houston right now, and how many are not. Here's the pitch. Right at the bottom of the zone, 92 miles an hour on the stinker. Called strike one. Josh Bell is at the plate. Right-handed DH. Here's the pitch. Wow, that one dropped so much. It disappeared into the earth. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here comes a 1-1 pitch from Fromber. Another one in the dirt. Diaz is actually able to handle that one. 2 balls and 1 strike. We get out of this inning here, we'll have a chance to score first. How about that? Astros have started off 18 games straight behind. Here's the pitch. Fouled off on the right side. 2 balls and 2 strikes. One from Corpus Christi. My wife loves your show, wants to know your full name, por favor. My full name? My full name? Here comes the 2-2 pitch. I can tell you guys that my family name is English. So there you go, Brandon English. That's my legal family name. 3-2 pitch on the way. Swing and a miss. All right. On the outside lower corner. Nice curveball. Fromber picks up the K. And we're out of the first inning. Can you believe it? We're out of the first inning without giving up a single run. The Astros have been behind 18 games in a row. They have allowed the opposing team to score 18 games in a row first. We have the opportunity right now to turn that around, break that record. In Conroe, you've said you know where that town is. Yeah, actually, there are several places around there that I'm vaguely familiar with, because even after we left Houston, even after my family left Houston, of course, we went back to Houston many times, because primarily we lived in northern or northwest Louisiana. So we lived in Mansfield, which is a small town. We lived in Grand Cane, which is a village with nobody, basically, in not too far from there. We even lived in a place called Carmel. My dad was always trying to put us somewhere where it didn't cost any money. But that often meant putting us in a single wide trailer out in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by nothing but trees and swamp. And that's not an exaggeration. One time he put us in a place called Carmel, Louisiana. If you can look that up on Google Maps, what you'll find is it's very close to a place called Clear Lake, and which is a very ironic, hilarious name, because it's a swampy swampy area. It has alligators and snakes and all sorts of stuff that's not good for kids. But you know, I explored that area out there, and I got into some dangerous places I shouldn't have been in. My mom and dad had no idea I was out there. But Shreveport was where we spent most of our time, and we would often go back to Houston. Trammell is at the plate. Let's see if the Tram can leave the station today and go full steam ahead. Swing and a miss on the first pitch, strike one. And by the way, Juan, I'd like to tell your wife, thanks for supporting me and my channel. I appreciate the vote of support. Here's the pitch. 95, right in the bottom of the zone. Strike two. Modest crowd today. This is hit out to left field all the way out to the wall, but that's going to be short of the Crawford boxes. Just short, maybe about 8 feet short of the track. Nice try. Just couldn't quite get there. One down. But anyway, while we lived in Houston, basically from my middle school life all the way up, we went back to Houston many times to visit my uncle, my aunt, some cousins, and some other family. My uncle lives in Baytown. Altuve fouls off the first pitch. Yes, that's right, Shrewdly. Feels good, doesn't it? We're in the bottom of the first and we're not behind. Altuve tries the running bunt, but fouls it. Now he's down 0-2. I lived in a neighborhood called Wood Forest. Do you guys know that? Altuve grounds the next one to third base, and it's played over for the out. 2 away. Fly out for Trammell in the opposite field. Ground out to third by Altuve. My uncle's name is Rick. I'm not going to give you his family name for obvious reasons. He's my mom's brother, so he doesn't have my name. Here's the pitch. 96 miles an hour off the plate to the Batman, Victor Caratini. Caratini batting lefty. 87 just barely outside. Did he call that one a strike? Yeah, he did. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's the next toss. Way outside, fouled off. The count remains 1-2. Brad Lord having a decent inning so far. Just 9 pitches. He's got 2 outs, a ground out and a fly out. 1-2 against the Batman. Give us a run, Caratini. Just 1 run. Little check swing. They say he did not go. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here's a pitch. Opposite field ground ball. They throw it over to first base. Caratini goes down. So 2 ground outs and a fly out. No strikeouts though. Fromber struck out 2. But the Astros have not struck out once yet. So that's good. But from what I understand, Brad Lord, his pitching style is not strikeout style. I did a little bit of research, and according to what I read, his style of pitching, it depends, or his success, okay? Because of his style of pitching, his success depends on contact. And the Astros, of course, they are a contact team, but they're not a really good, I guess you could say, multiple base hit team. They don't hit a lot of home runs. They don't hit a lot of doubles and triples and things like that. So it's actually kind of difficult for them to have a really stellar game against a pitcher like this normally. They can get a few off of him, but not too much. And what you saw in this inning is a perfect example of the way things normally go between a team like ours and a team like his. The Astros generally won't be striking out against this guy today, and they'll be putting it in play. So it's just a matter of putting the ball where there are no players. It's pretty simple. It's funny because I was such a small baby when we moved to Houston. I may as well have been born there, because as soon as I was born in Shreveport, my mom and dad went straight to Houston. My dad already had the job lined up with Armco. He might have already started. There are a lot of questions that I could ask my mom and dad now that I've never thought about asking before, because the thought never crossed my mind to think about it, or I didn't have any reason to care too much about a lot of those things. But now my mom is gone, and my dad and I don't speak. Here's the pitch. First pitch of the top of the second. Big bouncer fired over with a rocket from Dubon. Look at that. Nice play. Dubon had to put some fire on that ball. Did you guys see that? Good job saving that infield hit there. Yeah, that's right, Chris. It's the batter, the leadoff batter for the Nationals. As soon as his name came up on the screen, I was like, wait a second. I thought Brad Lord was the pitcher today. Here comes the first pitch to Paul DeJong. DeJong? It's in there for strike 1. 1 away, nobody on here in the top of the second. Come on, Astros, let's go. Here comes 0-1 pitch. This is hit out into right field, and just fair. It bounces fair and into the crowd. It's going to be a ground rule double. DeJong heads to second base. That ball bounced right up into the stands. It was slicing, and it was slicing. Sinker with some movement. It wasn't a really bad pitch. Just landed about 2 feet fair. So we got a runner on second with 1 out. Dalen Lyle is at the plate. He fouls off the first pitch for strike one. Ah, okay. I gotcha. I see what you're talking about, Chris. You know, one of the interesting things that I like about Japan baseball is that the pitchers, they still hit. And some of them are really, really good at it. It's not just Ohtani. There are a lot of Japanese pitchers who can hit. That's low, 97, swing and a miss. Complete whiff there. Man, Fromber has actually thrown a couple of fastballs that are a little bit faster than normal. How about that? Maybe that's why Hunter Brown has not been throwing as fast. Fromber has taken some away from Brown. That's fouled off. The count remains 0-2 to Dalen Lyle. Mel says, I've been to Mansfield. I believe it's near Carmel. Yeah, you're right. I think many people will be surprised there's a Civil War battlefield site in Mansfield. Yeah, they do reenactments there. You probably know that. But they do Civil War reenactments there. This is grounded to the right side. Easy for Walker to pick that one up from Bryce Matthews. Runner moves over to third, but there are two away. The Nationals have one hit. Runner on third, 2 outs. Brady House. They got some weird names, don't they? Here's the pitch. High and outside. I don't know if you guys ever thought about this or not, but names in America are like the total opposite of names in China. In America, we have so many different names, it's ridiculous. So many different family names, so many different first names. In China, it's not like that. It's total opposite. That's in the dirt. Ball 2. Ball 2 to House. House MD. Come on, Fromber, let's swat these gnats. Here comes the next pitch, the 2-0. On the inside, strike one, good pitch, 96 mile per hour stinker. Good toss there, Fromber. Bruce Lee approves, my friend. I don't know why I like that meme so much. They took the short little clip from the movie where Bruce Lee's standing there and he just does the thumbs up. They turned that into a meme that says Bruce Lee approves. I love it. Fouled off at the plate, 2 balls and 2 strikes. That one was off of Diaz. He's walking around. Looks like he got stung by it. He got stung by a gnat. Come on, Diaz. You're okay, bro? It's one thing I don't miss about being in Shreveport during the summer, and that's the weather and the temperature. Good grief. You know, last night here at my house, it was about 65 degrees outside. Can you believe that? So nice. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Heck yes. You, sir, have been framburgled. That's right. You just got yourself framburgled. Brad Lord is going to be back up on the mound for the Nats in just a moment, facing the irrefutable, undeniable, inevitable Christian Walker, who's currently 0 for 0 in this game. But he's about to get blowed up. Chris says you said I'm making you feel like a time warp. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The Space City gear. They'll come out with new gear only if they want to sell it more. And see, that's my problem with it. When I see the Space City gear and I think about they just got their City Connect gear last year, and I like it. It's nice. But then they came out with new ones for this year, and I didn't think about it until today. Just this morning, the thought crossed my mind when I saw them wearing the gear, and I thought, wait a second. Are they going to be doing this every year? Are we literally going to have new jerseys for every MLB team every year? You can't tell me, you cannot tell me that that's not a money grab. Do we really need that? I mean, what does that do to serious collectors of jerseys? That bankrupts their pocketbook. I feel like it's just, it's kind of like your child likes toast, but they really love toast with jam. And so whenever you put jam on the toast and they eat it, they're like, oh my God, this is like the best breakfast ever. You know, they love it. And then you go into the other room and you go to do something, and they're sitting there looking at the toast and the jam, and they're like, if it tastes so good like this, it must taste good with all of the jam on it, you know? That's up and in, taken for strike one against Christian Walker. And so they just take a spoon and they just start scooping out big globs on top of the toast and completely cover it up. 87-mile-per-hour slider, swing and a miss. Strike two to Walker. And of course, it totally destroys the toast. It's just too much. And I feel like that's, if we've got new jerseys coming out every single year, and that's 2 sets. You think about it, it's 2 sets. Outside and low. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Walker. Because we have the home and away jerseys, right? Why do we need 2 new sets every year? A little low. Woo, that was a dangerous take. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here comes the 2-2 pitch from Lord. Fouled off. Count remains 2-2. Come on, Walker. We need you to play like you were meant to play, bro. Jacob Melton on deck, baby. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Rifle to the right side, but unfortunately just foul. That was a nice line drive. If it had gone into the corner, Walker could have rushed to second base. Close call. Let's do it. We got to score. We got to do it. Here comes the pitch. Up the middle, but playable by the second baseman. Ground out. Not surprising. Lord gets a lot of ground balls. But look at the bright side. There was no double play there. 1 away. Jacob Melton comes to the plate. This is where the game turns around right here. He only had 11 games played this year. Doesn't he look like a baseball player, though? He looks like a baseball player, like a traditional baseball player. Got the old mustache going. Come on, baby. Batting lefty. Let's make it happen. Very first pitch, 96 right in there. Strike one. He's only played about 11 games total for the Astros this year. His batting average is .241. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Grounds this one to second base. Another grounder put away. Maybe next at bat. Maybe next at bat. That's 2 down. And Yainer Diaz comes to the plate. Yeah, but Chris, I do consider myself basically from Houston because, like I said, as soon as I was born, straight to Houston my family went. They were just waiting on me to come so they could head back to Houston where my dad started working. 1 ball, no strikes. Here's the pitch. Yainer taps that one. Another grounder to shortstop. Look at that. 2 easy grounders to second base and then a grounder to shortstop. Brad Lord with only 22 pitches. It shut down the Astros. 6 up and 6 down. We go to the top of the third. The Nationals have 1 hit. No runs. Everything else is zeros. Everything else is zeros. Riley Adams is due up to bat in just a moment. Adams batting 8th in the lineup, and his batting average is .159, so that makes him very, very dangerous. Yeah, they're trying to beat it out, Jordan, but not quite getting there. Jacinto City. Hey, 20 years. Oh my gosh, Christopher. Yeah, you're right. August and July, or July, August in New Iberia after Katrina. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You don't want to be anywhere in Louisiana during July and August. You know, one of the things about Louisiana that I find interesting is that a lot of it is below sea level. A lot of it is swampland, and it's completely flat. The highest point, you can look this up online, but the highest point in Louisiana is in a forest, and it's just a little hill. You walk to the top of the hill, and you're like, I'm in the highest place in all of Louisiana, and it feels very weird because it really doesn't feel significant at all, because it's not. Louisiana is as flat as a runway. They just showed some deadline deals for the Astros a while back. Verlander, Presley, and Greinke. Those are pretty good deals. We'll see if we can pull off something else similar. Fromber's delivering his next pitch. That's low and inside for ball one to Riley Adams. Here comes the next pitch. This is hit hard into left field. That's going to be another base hit. Altuve grabs it and brings it in. Adams stays at first base. We have another single. I'm sorry, we had a double before. A double and a single now off of Fromber. 2 hits for the Nationals. Leadoff runner. First pitch on the way to Jacob Young. Outside, ball one. Here's the pitch. 92 miles an hour in the bottom of the zone. That should have been strike one. Called a ball by the umpire. 2-0. Runner on first base here in the top of the third with no outs. Jacob Young at the plate. And I don't mean the dinner plate. Here's a pitch. A little outside. Close. Man, this umpire's calling it pretty tight right now. 3 balls and no strikes. The question is, will Fromber get himself into an old-timey jam? Here's a pitch. Right in there, 94 miles an hour. Strike one. 3-1 is the count. Yeah, Juan, I know that the Yankees are a stickler for not having names on the jerseys. And they talk about the collective, but you know what? If they're a collective, then why do they all have different numbers? Low and inside, strike two. He thought that was a ball, but that was a good call by the ump. Full count. Just reducing people to numbers is something I've never really liked. The guy at the plate right now, Jacob Young, his number's 30. That was my number all the way through high school. Here comes the pitch, the 3-2. Oh, yeah, baby. He thought he was going to walk on that one. Strike three. He got angry and he started griping at the umpire. That curveball just completely ate him alive. Look at this. Look how perfect that was. And he threw his bat down. He's like, surely. That came right across his knees. Man, Fromber ate his lunch right there. How about that? The count was 3-0. Fromber came back and struck him out. He was trying so hard for a walk, and Fromber was not having it. 1 ball, no strikes to Abrams. Here comes the next toss. Right in there, bottom of the zone, 97 miles an hour on that stinker. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 away, runner on first. Judy, Most of the time, I started off at third base when I was a kid, but that was in Houston. But from there, I moved primarily to second base. I was an Altuve guy, but I wasn't as short as Altuve. I was tall and lanky. I was really fast and really quick, but I wouldn't say that I had a very strong arm. I never had any coaches who knew how to properly warm us up or build arm strength or anything like that. So second base was a really good fit for me. I was really good at fielding the ball. Here's a pitch. Up and in. 3 balls and 1 strike to C.J. Abrams. 1 out, 1 runner on. Here comes the pitch. Wow, that was a wild pitch outside. Doesn't really matter. It's ball 4. They're talking again about some past acquisitions by the Astros at the trade deadline. Trey Mancini, Justin Verlander, and Yusei Kikuchi. We've got now 2 runners on. So would you say that this is a Gordon old-timey jam? 2 runners on with 1 out? Kind of is. Here's a pitch. 80 miles an hour on the outside lower corner. Strike 1 to Alex Call. He lined out his last at bat. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Excuse me. That came up fast. And that turns out to be a strike. I didn't even get to see it because I had to sneeze. Yeah, Crispy, you're noting all the Cy Young Award winners, right? It doesn't really matter, honestly. I mean, just because somebody won the Cy Young doesn't really mean anything. I mean, it's good. It's a good award, and it's good on them. But that doesn't mean that they're playing at a Cy Young level right now. Fouled off at the plate. He barely got a piece of that. The count remains 0-2. Runners on first and second. A ground ball. A little Fromber special right here would be perfect. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Fouled off. The count remains 0-2. One, I did see where you mentioned Fromber's here to restore order. I missed a few comments when I was busy with the game here, but it's all right. Here's the pitch, 0-2. Fouled off again on the right side. Call is doing his best. Keeps fouling him off. Crispy says, in order to win this game, we need some teamwork. I trust Fromber will do his part, but we need 9 guys on offense to do something. Someone please hit a home run. It seems like forever ago. I agree with that. Yeah, it does feel like it's been too long. Cam Smith had a 2 home run game, and then he followed up with another home run the next day, and then after that it was kind of like, meh. Kind of died, right? Here comes the 0-2 pitch to Call. Give him the Fromber special. Come on. Swing and a miss in the dirt. 1,000 strikeouts for Fromber Valdez in his career. Big milestone. There we go. He got Frombergled. Congratulations, Mr. Call. You are Fromber's 1,000th strikeout. The very first pitch to Josh Bell is a swing and a miss, like kind of a half swing on the outside. 0-1 with 2 outs. Here's the point. The pitch, rather. As I'm reading your comment, Chris. I'm looking at the game at the same time. I see point and pitch. I get them mixed up. 1 ball and 1 strike to Josh Bell. Here's the toss. A little below the zone. 2 balls, 1 strike. There are 2 runners on, first and second, here in the top of the third, with 2 outs. 2 balls and 1 strike to Josh Bell. Fromber is currently trying to ring his bell. Here comes the 2-1 delivery. Swing and a miss. Nice. The curveball. 80 miles an hour, and it dropped below the zone. He thought it was coming in there. Speaking of 1,000, he got 1,000 Ks. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs. If you guys haven't subbed yet, please feel free to do so. Swing and a miss. 1,001 strikeouts. 1,001 strikeouts for Fromber Valdez in his career. On that curveball. Boom, baby. If it was working for strike 2, you might as well throw it for strike 3. And he gets out of the jam. You, sir, have been Frombergled. 2 hits for the Nationals. 2 runs stranded in that inning. 1 hit. In the first, 1 hit. I'm sorry, 1 hit in the... But yeah, it was the first. That's right. 1 hit in the first, 1 hit in the third. But that's pretty much it for this game. No other hits, no errors, no runs. None of that. Yeah, John, this game is starting off like a normal baseball game, right? Where people are trying to get runs, get a couple of runners on, but nothing's happening. It's looking more normal. The Astros still trying to break that streak of allowing their opponent to score first. I think it's time for me to pour myself a fresh cup of coffee. I've got my filter, got my coffee, got my hot water. It's all right here, baby. There we go. They're in there talking with Dana Brown right now. It'd be nice to hear something awesome from him, wouldn't it? They're talking to him about how he would categorize what they're doing with the trade deadline. He said they are very busy talking to a lot of people. They better be. Doobie at the plate. First pitch is up and in for ball 1. He says they've got irons in the fire and they're excited about some things. We'll see. Hey, no, almost. Dubon hits a soft liner, caught by C.J. Abrams. Almost into left field for a hit. Almost. Out number 1. Bryce Matthews comes to the plate. Trying to listen to what Dana Brown is saying to pick up anything interesting. Right in there to Bryce Matthews. 94 miles an hour. Strike 1. Here comes the next pitch from Lord. Swing and a miss. 95 right in there. 0-2. Looks like Lord is just going for the fastball strikeout. against Matthews. Here comes the toss. He does. 96 miles an hour right in the middle. Why bother throwing anything but fastballs when the guy can't hit it? 3-pitch strikeout. That's the first strikeout for the Astros. Matthews looked terrible there. Took the first one, and then swing, swing. He's gone. And every one of those were in the zone. Every one of those were hittable. Speaking of strike, that's another 96-mile-per-hour fastball right on the outside edge to Zach Short. Looks like these new guys, he's just going fastball, fastball, fastball. That's a slider, but in the dirt. 88 miles an hour. 1-1 is the count. 2 outs, nobody on. Here comes the pitch. Up and in, ball 2. 2-1. Here comes the 2-1 pitch to Short. 96 in the top of the zone. Swing and a foul tip miss. 2-2. Don't see any reason to throw anything but fastballs to the minor league guys. If I'm Lord. Here's a 2-2 pitch. 97 in the top of the zone, but that one's fouled off. Short hanging in there. Here comes the 2-2. Inside he holds up. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Here comes the 3-2 pitch. Fouls it off. 96 inside. Could have been ball 4. We'll have another 3-2 pitch coming in just a moment. Here comes the full count. Wow, he rifles that one down the line, but scooped up by the third baseman, and he lobs it over, bounces it to first base for the out. They finish up chatting with Dana Brown. Not a whole lot from Dana Brown there. I was trying my best to listen in to see if he said anything of note. I will say this. He mentioned that they would go for a higher priced outfielder if it was really worth it. You know, if it was something they felt that was really worth it, they would go for it. I don't know if he's saying that because they have decided to do that, they're negotiating that, or they're just open to it. But sometimes, you know, when they say stuff like that, they're kind of telling you indirectly what they're working on. If they say, you know, if we find a guy like this, we're open to that. We're open to discussing that trade. What they really are saying is that we are negotiating with a guy like that. Sometimes it's like that. Not always, but they also discussed something else. They discussed the concept of waiting, you know, because you've got guys in the wings coming back from rehab, coming back from recovery, you know, and they discussed that a little bit. You know, how much do you weigh waiting for those guys to come back versus quickly getting some replacements in? Do you pull the trigger or do you wait? And he basically said, well, we're not focused essentially on we must get something, we must get somebody right now, but we're actively looking and very busy to see what is available and what we can get, and if there's an opportunity, we'll definitely take it. So it looks like, if you think of it from a sniper point of view, they're actively looking, but unless they find a really good shot, they're not going to take a shot. Nathaniel Lowe is at the plate. Fromber's first pitch to him is low. But it is a strike. Strike 1. Here comes the next pitch from Fromber. That one is low. Ball. 1-1. Two low pitches. Oh, got a few people coming into the chat I haven't been able to respond to yet. I'll get to you in just a moment. 81 low and outside. Check swing. He does not go. That's 2-1. Well, Chris, about the Space City or the City Connect jerseys, yeah, they could definitely be memorabilia, but I just feel like a new set every single year is just overkill. It's too much. Maybe every 3 years they should do like that or something like that. I think that'd be cool. Ground ball to Bryce Matthews, who throws it over to first base. Nathaniel Lowe goes down, out number 1. Paul DeYoung comes to the plate. It'd make them more special and more nostalgic, and et cetera, if they actually came out just like every 3 years instead of every year. Every year is just too much, in my opinion. Swing and a miss, low and inside on the curveball. Good toss. Strike 1 to DeYoung. And John, you said sup earlier. I did respond to your comment, but yeah, hello, nice to see you. Another strike there. 0-2 against DeYoung. Casey, have a good time at work. Go Stros indeed. Braden, thank you for coming back. Good to see you. Hope you have a good day today and enjoy the game. Swing and a miss. How about that? 1,002 strikeouts for Framber Valdez. For those of you coming in late in this game, Framber Valdez has passed 1,000 career strikeouts. And he's already added a couple of more. He's at 1,002 now. And I'm doing all right today. Good day to you, Braden. Crispy says Bryce Matthews had 3 perfect pitches down the middle and missed them. Yeah, he took one and swiped it too, didn't he? First pitch to Dalen Lyle is ball. 2 outs, nobody on. Time to get Burgled. A little low and outside, ball 2. Yeah, Jordan, Short was fouling him off and hitting him, but just couldn't get it in the right spot, unfortunately. I like it when Short actually swings the bat, even though he does have good patience at the plate. That's grounded to Christian Walker, and he does get Burgled. Dalen Lyle goes down, and that's 1-2-3 for the Burglar. How about that? Good inning from giving us a chance to not only win this game, but score first. Let's do it here in the 4th inning. Let's do it. You know, the number 4 in China and in Japan, the pronunciation it sounds a lot like the word for death, to die. And so they don't consider that a lucky number. But I have a joke here in Asia. When people ask me, what is your favorite number? I always say number 4. And they're like, oh, they think that's not good. And then they ask me, why do you like number 4? And this is what I tell them. Because every day I'm killing it. And then at first they don't get it because they don't know this expression. Even if you say it in Japanese or if you say it in Chinese, they don't really understand what that means because the expression doesn't translate. If you just say, I'm killing it, there's no context. And that's the thing about these languages. Japanese language and Chinese language, you need context. So if you say, I'm killing it, they don't know what it is. What is it? Killing what? Because they have nothing to base that on, right? If you were talking about an animal and then you say I'm killing it, then maybe they can figure out what you're talking about because there's some context. But if you just say every day I'm killing it, they have no idea what you're talking about. But if you explain it to them, this expression in English, and then you say that's why the number 4 is my favorite number because I'm killing it, they won't get a laugh out of it because you know it's that thing about explaining the joke. but at least they'll be able to understand. The Tram is back at the plate. The Astros have basically had 9 up and 9 down. He taps that one to the pitcher, and he rushes down the line, and he makes a good throw. So Lord makes the good play to first base for out number 1. Tram grounds out. The Astros are grounding out like crazy right now. Jose Altuve is at the plate. 96 up and in, swing and a miss. Pretty interesting. They've got a German football club in the stadium today. Who are they playing? Here's a pitch. 95 right in the bottom of the zone. Strike 2. Come on, Altuve. We need you, buddy. We need you to have a good game today. Here comes the 0-2 pitch from Lord. Low and outside, ball 1. Yeah, they're interviewing this guy who represents the team, the soccer team. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Altuve. Little check swing low and outside. Good take. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I haven't heard any specific news about Myers yet, John. Swing and a miss. That's unfortunate. I'm really sad to see Altuve striking out against this pitcher, especially on such a bad pitch. That was so far outside and low. Altuve went after it. I guess he had in his mind he was going to get a good pitch there after 2 balls, and he just didn't. Strikeout number 2 and out number 2. Victor Caratini's at the plate, just below the zone. Ball 1, good take. But they don't expect Myers to be out very long. I think just a couple more weeks, maybe. Before the break, they said 3 weeks. And I just tacked a week onto that. And so right now, I think it's essentially maybe less than 2 weeks. Woo! Ball 2, low and away. Fromber's chance of catching Nolan Ryan's strikeouts total, I don't know. I'd have to look that up. Caratini hits that one over the first base side, and he can take it himself. Easy out. Man, how many times the Astros going to ground out? So we have 2 strikeouts today, unfortunately. Still not a high number considering we've been through 4 innings. But man, they must have like 12 ground outs. It's been crazy. Even if the Astros get runners on base, you got to be worried about that double play with this pitcher, right? If we get a runner on, we need an extra base hit. We need a double. We need a triple. We need a homer. These are the kind of hits we need off this guy. If we try to nickel and dime him, it won't work. First guy gets a single if he pokes it through. Second guy is just going to ground into a double play. So we're going to have to get... We really need 2 things. One is we need extra base hits. And I'm speaking from an offensive point of view for this game. We need extra base hits, and we need to get some hits that are kind of lucky through the gaps. Because if we keep grounding it like this to the first baseman, the shortstop, the second baseman, the third baseman, if we can't get any extra base hits, we're not going to score any runs. We've got to get some extra base hits. We have to. Astros should be swinging for the fences. I just, if I were the coach right now, I'd be like, listen, every single pitch that comes in, if it's anywhere near the strike zone, you're swinging for the fences. You know, get under the ball, swing for the fences. That's what I would tell them. Normally, that's not what managers say. Coaches and managers don't say swing for the fences, but with this guy, that's what I'd say. We're in the top of the 5th, 0-0. 2 hits for the Nationals, none for the Stros. I agree, Fox. We need to respond for Fromber. We can't be wasting these quality starts. First pitch is going to come to Brady House, and it's on the way right now in the dirt. Ball 1. Jordan says, I've never had a favorite number or color. Well, interestingly enough, my favorite color was green from the time I was a kid. But it was because of my baseball team in Houston. We're the Grasshoppers, and we went undefeated. So I considered it my lucky number. I mean, my lucky color. 78 miles an hour, swing and a miss on the foul ball. Foul tip goes to the backstop. 1 ball, 1 strike to Mr. House. Brady House. The Brady House. Okay. It's a story of a man named Fromber who was striking out one very unlucky guy. That is strike 2 on the foul ball. 1 and 2 is the count. Well, John, this pitcher, his success depends on contact. As long as they aren't getting extra base hits and homers, then he normally does really well. So we have to find a way to get extra base hits. Otherwise, we'll just keep grounding out. Here comes a 1-2 pitch to House. Ooh, just barely misses on the outside with the curveball. That was a nice pitch, but didn't quite make it back far enough. Two balls and 2 strikes. Here comes the toss. Swing and a miss. Another K. Another from Burgle. 1002? 1003? Nice. I like everything equally. That's funny. I don't think you have to try to have a favorite. I think you just naturally do or you don't. But now I wouldn't say that green is my #1 favorite. It's not like that anymore. I would just say that I like several colors. But not all colors are appealing to me. And it also depends on the contrast and situation, right? Here's a 1-0 pitch. Outside check swing. Did he go? I think he did. Yes, he did. Strike 1. 1-1 to Riley Adams. 1 out, nobody on. He calls timeout. Speaking of colors, look how they've got these kind of hot pink gloves that are completely clashing with their regular team colors. Kind of hard on the eyes. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Right in the bottom of the zone, but just a little below. 2 balls and 1 strike. Yeah, right now they're not showing any power, Crispy. Here's the pitch. That's in the top of the zone. Good call. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Riley Adams. Fromber looking to pick up yet another strikeout. See if he gets it on the curveball here. Here comes the pitch. Oh, yeah, baby. Curveball on the outside edge. He gets it that time. Fromber is #1 in MLB on backdoor strikes. If you want to know what a backdoor strike is, that's what it looks like right there. It's when it looks like it's going outside and it comes back in. So strike on that outside edge. Next batter is Jacob Young, who fouls off the first pitch. Yet another strike for Fromber. 0-1 is the count with 2 outs and nobody on here in the top of the 5th. Jordan, yeah, I think a lot of people don't like that. But you know, in China, 666 is lucky. 93 above the zone. Just a little. 1 ball, 1 strike to Young. They in Chinese, if you want to say 6, it's liu, and they say liu 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 liu. It just means, because once again, there's a tapper to third. They're gonna say it's foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes. But once again, in Chinese, the number 6 sounds similar to another word, and it sounds like really good or really nice or really cool. And so when you see something that's really cool or really nice or really good or whatever, you can say lu 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 lu. And this in Chinese means 6. So they'll say lu 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 if they see something cool or whatever, which is hilarious. It's totally opposite of Western thought, right? That one was a little out of the zone. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jacob Young with 2 outs. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Another strikeout. Holy cow. Fromber is just striking batters out like crazy with that curveball, man. Holy freaking cow. But you know, the Nationals batters are just average. They've only got really 2 guys in the lineup that are dangerous batters, okay? And if you can get around them, the rest of the lineup is not very difficult. Right now, if you take a look at Valdez's stats, can you guys tell me how many strikeouts Valdez has right now? Because I haven't said it. And I mean in this game, not overall. I mean in this game. Does anybody know? Without looking it up, can you tell me how many strikeouts Valdez has in the first 5 innings of this game? I'll give you a moment to guess. Yes, the Astros bats have been a little frustrating, Gregory. You're right. Jordan, also you're right. Altuve, when he's not... people have often said as Altuve goes, the team goes. And sometimes that's true. But when he's not doing well, it's difficult when the team is not picking him up. You know, they really could use his fire. You know, they could use him as a spark to ignite things. They really could. Hello to you, Glenn. Good to see you here. Just have everyone bunt. You never know. It would be swing for the fences and bunt. Depends on the situation. Maybe that's what our strategy should be right now. Depending on who's on base and what's going on, you either bunt or you swing for the fences. Or maybe you give the players a choice. Listen, you can bunt or you can swing for the fences, but that's all you can do. You're not allowed to do anything else. Yeah, Fromber needs to average 301 strikeouts for 15 years to catch Nolan Ryan. That's interesting. 5,714. The very first pitch is grounded by Christian Walker. Terrible throw to first base, but he scoops it up. Walker grounds out on the very first pitch from Brad Lord. Astros commentator says that Brad Lord has been in the rocking chair all evening. That's pretty much true. Jacob Melton comes to the plate. First pitch is on the way. 95 on the outside edge for strike 1. I think he can make a mistake here. I hope that Brad Lord pitches to Jacob Melton like he thinks he's a minor league guy. But Jacob Melton shows him that he's ready for the majors. Come on. Here's the pitch. High and inside. He's pitching him with those fastballs. Fastball on the outside. Fastball up and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Throw that fastball down the middle. Let's see it. Here's the pitch. 95 sinker. Right in the middle bottom part of the zone. Fouled off by Melton. I think Melton can handle it. Here comes the next pitch. Up the middle. No, right to the shortstop. That's going to be another ground out. Melton almost beat it out. Once again, just hit it in the wrong spot. But Melton can get the bat on the ball versus this guy. It's just a matter of getting it in the right spot. 2 down. Brad Lord with 50 pitches in 4 2/3 inning. Here comes the pitch to Yainer Diaz. Another fastball strike on the outside edge. No, they called it a ball. Wow. Okay, that was a gimme. 1-0. Here's the next pitch. Way outside and low. Hey, we're going to get a walk. You know you're scratching for scraps. You're clawing and scratching for scraps whenever it's 2-0 and you're thinking walk. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. Another one outside, check swing. They say he did not go. 3-0. Come on, Yiner, give us a walk. Let's get a guy on base. Lethargic applause from the crowd. Come on, Yiner, you can get this walk. Outside, ball 4, yeah! A 4-pitch walk from Lord. Yiner doesn't swing at anything. He doesn't even go for that terrible stuff outside. Good for you, Yiner. He didn't give him a shiner, but that's like beating somebody in a fight by doing submission, you know. Yiner submits. He makes Brad Lord submit. Dubon at the plate. Dubon rips it to left field into the corner all the way to the wall. Diaz is running around second base. It rattles around. He's going to head home. Here's the throw. He's safe. Yiner Diaz scores. How about that? The Astros with a doobie double. 1-0. Thank you. Thank you so much. First pitch swing. He rifles it out into left field, and they were not playing the line. So it rattles around in that corner for a while, and it takes some time for that left fielder to get over there and get the ball, giving Yiner plenty of time to get in. He slides, but he didn't even have to. The ball didn't even make it home. 1-0 Stros. The first hit of the game, a doobie double. Man, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. I told you guys, we got to have those extra base hits. We have to have those extra base hits. It's the only way we're going to win this game against this pitcher. All right. Doobie on second base with 2 outs. A 2-out doobie double. And Bryce Matthews comes to the plate. He's 0 for 1 today. A little patience from Yiner and a good stroke from Doobie, and we're up 1-0. Here's the pitch. Low and outside. Ball 1 to Matthews. Good take. Glenn, I saw what you said there. All of them have hair of gold like their mother. The Brady Bunch. Hit into center field, right center. Is it going to get down? No, it's caught on the run by the center fielder. Very close. Matthews finally getting his bat on the ball there, but Doobie with the double gives us the lead, 1-0. That might be where the game winds up, 1-0. 2 hits for the Nationals, 1 important hit for the Astros to drive in Yiner all the way from first base. That is what it's going to take right there, yes sir. Mauricio Dubon batting low in the lineup for the Astros, batting 7th, comes through. But by the way, to answer my question earlier, Fromber through the first 5 innings has 10 strikeouts, guys. 1 walk, 10 strikeouts. He's given up 2 hits. You know, if we had a couple of backup pitchers that could give us 5 innings like this, not necessarily 10 strikeouts, not even just 2 hits, even if they gave up like 6 or 7 hits. But, you know, the kind of the way Brad Lord is pitching, you know, he puts the ball in play. The big difference is that Fromber has that awesome curveball, and he has a way to get strikeouts. Brad Lord is not really a strikeout pitcher. He's a contact pitcher. But it's difficult to get extra base hits off of him. It's typically infield hits and grounders and stuff like that. If we had a couple of pitchers that were similar to support Fromber and Brown, then all would be good. But right now, Fromber's stats are looking pretty good so far. He's back up on the mound now in the top of the 6th. Astros have one of the best records in the league when they score first. In case you guys didn't know that. First pitch coming to C.J. Abrams on the way, right in the bottom of the zone. Nice pitch, 92-mile-per-hour stinker. Strike one. Here comes the pitch. This is grounded to the right side. Bryce Matthews grabs it, lobs it over to first base for the out. On the second pitch, Abrams grounds out. That was a big run in many ways for the Astros. There's so many reasons why that one little run was so important for us. I'm sure you'll agree. Alex Call comes to the plate, 0 for 2 today. Likely has 1 or 2 strikeouts against Fromber. Here comes the pitch. Right in there, 94-mile-per-hour stinker. Strike one. Colors are all wonky for you, Chris. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, low and inside. 0-2. Nice curveball. Yeah, the curse is broken. That's right. That no swing from Yiner did pay off, absolutely. Yeah, that's right, Crispy. Dubon, only one scoring runs. Here's a pitch. In the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Mr. Alex Call. He tried to get him on the curveball there, but there was too much curve on that ball. It went into the doit. Into the doit. One ball, 2 strikes. Here comes the toss from Fromber. A little outside. Kind of tempting him with the sinker there, but he didn't go after it. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Another K. Make that 11. Fromber Valdez looks like he is gunning for 15 strikeouts in this game. He's up to 82 pitches. 2 outs. If Fromber gets through this batter 1 or 2 pitches, we might see him for 1 more inning. I don't think he's going to get to the 8th. High and outside. 1-0. He's facing Josh Bell, who has struck out 2 times today. Almost everybody has struck out against Fromber. I'm going to take a look at that in just a minute. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Ooh, swing and a miss. Another 80-mile-per-hour curveball in the bottom of the zone. 1-1. Jordan asks if Fromber will accept 25. You said my $25 million a year? Hey, if you're going to pay him that much, you need to pay me some salary. If you can afford to give Fromber $25 million a year, why don't you give him 24 and give 1 to me, and I'll keep doing this? I'd be more than happy to keep doing this for $1 million a year. 2 balls and 1 strike. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. Grounded foul down the third base side into the dugout. 2-2's the count. Mr. Josh Bell about to strike out again, give Fromber an even 12. Yeah, hanging the K's, or they used to hang the K's, right, on the rail. Sometimes you see that, but I haven't seen that in a while. Here comes the next pitch. Outside, ball 3, full count. Curve ball. He tried to go backdoor on it. Missed by about 10 inches. Here comes a full count toss. 2 outs, full count to Josh Bell. Here's Fromber's delivery. Just a little too far outside. He tried the curveball again on the back door, but he missed it twice in a row. And that's a walk. That's walk number 2. We have a 2-out base runner. Oh, Kerry Woods. 20 strikeouts. That's crazy. Jordan has 266 billion. Share the wealth, my friend. Here's the pitch. Nathaniel Lowe takes that one for strike 1. 98 miles an hour on the sinker. Fromber just jacking it up there just suddenly. Here comes the 90th pitch of the game for Fromber. Ooh, nice curveball. Gets the half swing. Man, when you get a 98 mile per hour sinker right in there, and that's followed up with basically an 80 mile per hour curveball, that's difficult. 0-2 is the count. Here comes the toss. Right in the bottom of the zone, but actually just a little below the zone. 98 mile per hour stinker. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here comes the next toss. Curveball in the dirt. 2-2. You need to buy Park Place? Have you already got Boardwalk? Once you get Park Place, you're going to load them up with houses and hotels? Oh, man. You know, if we had... Can you imagine how awesome... Even if the Astros bats just continue to be average to below average, can you imagine if we had 3 starting aces plus just keep the relievers that we have? Wow, 98 miles an hour. Fromber's laughing about that one, and he should laugh. That one was right on that outside edge. That was clearly a strike. And he's like, that was right there. And he's laughing about it. See, this is why Fromber's different this year. Back when he was a mental case, because he is not that anymore, he would freak out about that stuff. It'd really get to him. Here is the 3-2 pitch. That's in there, grounded, and it gets through the right side. That might score a run. Trammell is over. Here's the throw. They're going to bring it home. It's just a little too late, and the score is tied. Well, we didn't have the lead for very long. That ground ball just got right through. The missed strikeout call by the umpire cost us a run. This ball just too far away from Walker. No chance to play it. Yeah, the umpire blew that one for us. And in the throw, just even though the runner's really slow, it just came in too late. Yeah, Fromber is definitely bothered about that, and he should be. It's not fair. But you know, that happens in baseball. That's one of the things you got to accept in baseball. You have to learn how to accept in advance, you know. There are going to be times where the umpire makes terrible decisions and it leads to bad results for you. You just have to accept it before it happens, so that when it does happen, you can say, I already knew that. That's like your best friend telling you, hey man, did you know that your wife is cheating on you? Or your husband is cheating on you? And then you say, yeah, I knew that already. If you already knew, and then somebody tells you, how can it bother you? It can't. Brian King is warming up in the bullpen. Here comes the pitch. 81 miles an hour in the bottom of the zone. Nice curveball. Strike 1 against Paul DeYoung. Runner on second with 2 outs. Jordan, you're wrong. You're wrong. This year he has not been like that at all. Strike 2. Swing and a miss. Fromber has not imploded this year. That's past Fromber. In the past, he went straight to being upset. Not laughing and then upset. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Look at that. See, Fromber comes right back and is solid. Gets the strikeout. He's not satisfied with that inning, but he knows it's not his fault. It's okay. He gives up 1 in 6 innings. That was a shutout for Fromber. A bad call by the ump leads to a double right through the hole. That's the kind of hit that we would have to have off of Lord, where it just gets through the hole. Either it's clearly hit into the outfield or it gets through a hole. That's the only way we can really score, because I don't see the Astros, unless we get lucky and we can pull it into the Crawford boxes, but I don't know. And nobody's really hitting the ball strong enough right now to do that. Let's see here. I want to see which Nationals have been striking out. Nathaniel Lowe and Lyle are the only 2 Nationals that have not struck out. Fromber struck out 7 of the 9 Nationals. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of them twice. So he's been mowing them down. Pretty awesome. Yeah, if we had the strikeout system, you know, the, what do they call it? The AI strikeout system or whatever they call it, then that would have been recalled, and that would have been strike 3, and we would have been out of the inning, and the score would still be 1-0 Astros, and he'd have the shutout. Because that was a mistake by the umpire. It was close. I will say that. It was close. But it was a mistake by the umpire. First pitch by Lord to Zach Short is in there for strike 1. Here comes the next pitch. That's grounded to the shortstop, who bobbles it for a second, then makes a terrible throw to first base, but somehow he's able to make the play anyway. Looks like Brad Lord might be, yeah, he's being pulled. They had a left-hander warming up. So that was Brad Lord's last batter. He just pitches 1 batter. Gets the out against Zach Short, but the top of the batting order comes up with Taylor Trammell, and they're not going to let him pitch to Trammell. Lord doesn't look too happy about it, but that's the way it is. Gonna have a pitching change. We'll see who replaces Lord in just a minute. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying, Jordan. You said I didn't say this year, but you said he usually does this, and that implies present tense. That's present tense. So that's like you're saying that's the way he is now. And to me, now is this year. That's why I said what I said. Is because he hasn't been like that this year. He's really improved a lot. So he's gotten over that. I don't even consider that a thing anymore. Things like that haven't gotten into, little things like that haven't gotten into Fromber's head at all this year. He's really overcome that. And but yes, he does deserve better run support. Crispy, I agree. Wanda, oh, you mentioned Urquidy? I don't think he's with the Astros anymore. I don't know why you mentioned him. Really? I thought they got rid of him. I haven't heard his name in so long. Pretty sure they got rid of him. Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure that Urquidy's gone, so I don't know if you knew that, Juan. First pitch to Trammell. He's showing bunt. All right, we're going to go with the bunt strategy, but that was a ball outside, so 1-0. What we were talking about earlier, the bunt swing for the fences strategy. Looks like it might be on the plate. Here's the next pitch. He fouls that one off the mask of the umpire. Catcher spins around and grabs him like, "You okay, bro? He's not your mom." Catcher went back there and grabbed him like he's an elderly person or his mom or somebody. "Oh, are you okay? Are you okay?" He seems okay now. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Low and outside. Ball 2, 2-1. 94 on that fastball. Come on, Tram. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Right in the zone on the outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes on the 95-mile-per-hour fastball. It's Connor Pilkington. Pilkington? Really? Connor Pilkington. What a name. His name should be Plunkington. Trammell, all right. Opposite field hit. We got a runner on first. Trammell comes through with the opposite field single on the 2-2 count. Nice job, Mr. Tram. Choo-choo. The Tram is on. Fastball right in that outside part of the zone. Good smack off Connor Plunkington. .84 miles an hour above the zone to Jose Altuve, 1-0. 1 ground out, 1 strikeout for Altuve. Here comes a 1-0 pitch from Pilkington. 92, fouled back, 1-1. You can do it, young man. I believe in you. Here comes the pitch. He fouls that one back. Is that going to be out of play? Yes, it goes into the crowd. Astros getting more lift on the ball now, right? A line drive single by Trammell. 2 foul balls by Altuve. They're getting a lot more lift off this pitcher than they got off of Lord. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Altuve. Plunkington comes in with the pitch. 86 mile per hour slider. Altuve goes around with a half swing, and he goes down with another strikeout. It feels so sad to see Altuve 0-3. Especially striking out after fouling it off a couple of times. Victor Caratini at the plate. First pitch is a little high, but it clips the zone for strike 1. 2 ground outs for Caratini, so he was getting the bat on the ball. Oh, 1 to Caratini. 2 outs, runner on first. Another double? That'd be nice. Here comes the pitch. And he grounds this one to the shortstop, and looks like he's going to have an easy play to first, and he does. And that's it. 1 hit. There's going to be a no decision for Fromber. He's not going to be able to get the win here, unfortunately. 1-1, the game is still tied. Going into the top of the 7th. 3 hits for the Nationals, 2 for the Astros, and the game is tied 1-1. Well, you know, the fastball, that one wasn't exactly in the middle. It was a slightly to the outside of the zone. But considering how there have been a lot of fastballs like that in the zone today, and the Astros haven't been hitting them in the air, that was a great hit. You know, if you compare the results to the previous 5 innings, then it's a good result. It's a really good result. It's a definite improvement. Altuve struck out again. Caratini grounded out. So I would say that was a really good hit. Casey Jones, you're asking about Hector Neris. Are you including him as part of the best pitching staffs? Or is that what you're saying? I think that Neris is no longer that guy. Neris is no longer. To me, he's a coin toss right now. Brian King is going to be in the game for the Astros. I see they just changed the information on the screen. So Magnum PI comes into the game for the Stros. They were talking about Garrett Cole a moment ago. Magnum PI on the mound. First toss is in there, 91 mile per hour. Fastball or sinker. Strike one. Facing Dalen Lyle. Swing and a miss. 79 mile per hour Swiffer. 0-2. This is how I view Neris coin flip. Just a little outside on that pitch, ball 1. 1-2. Here's the next pitch to Lyle. Up and out, a generous call there, slightly out of the zone. Strike 3. Brian King picking up where Framber Valdez left off with that K. Here comes the next toss. Swing and a miss, 93 mile per hour fastball. Brady House at the plate. The Brady House brings all their sons and daughters to the plate and still can't get a hit. Here's a pitch. He bounces this one to third base. Played by Doobie all the way over for out number 2. Good throw. Good throw by Doobie. One strikeout, one ground out, 2 up and 2 down here in the top of the 7th for one Magnum PI, Mr. Brian King. Riley Adams comes to the plate. Lefty on righty. Here comes the toss. Just a little outside, ball 1. Oh my gosh. I can't imagine Framber being on the Yankees, but that would be absolutely horrible, wouldn't it? Or the Dodgers. This is hit on the right field all the way to the wall, and it's going to be gone. Trammell climbs the wall, and he can't get to it. Brian King gives up a homer to Riley Adams. That's only home run number 6 on the year for Riley Adams. Basically in the first row, Trammell climbed the wall. That was not a bad pitch. High and outside. Trammell went all the way up. Look at that effort. He missed it by just a foot. Trammell was like Spider-Man there trying to get that ball. Tremendous maximum effort, but it's now 2-1 Nationals. Two straight balls to Jacob Young. It's 2-0 with 2 outs. Astros now behind Got another come from behind situation. Just a tad outside. Should have given that one to us. You still owe us, umpire. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Jacob Young. Come on, King. Lock it down. Right in there. 92 miles an hour. Strike 1. 3-1. You know, Jordan, you might enjoy, I don't know, I kind of have to have earplugs when I go to the games, though. Too far inside. Ball 4. 5-pitch walk to Jacob Young. We have a runner on with 2 outs. The crowd at the stadium, they're constantly making noise and sounds and things like that, and they're always doing songs, and they've got devices to make sounds and stuff. It literally never stops. There's never a quiet moment. Swing and a miss, up and in, strike 1 to C.J. Abrams. I wish that there were kind of a middle ground between the American-style games and the Japanese-style games. One is too loud and one is too quiet. It'll toss over to first base. Young gets back, no problem. Here comes the 0-1 pitch from King. Fouled off. 0-2. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Max. Magnum could use a little support. 93, too far inside. 1-2 is the count. Abrams 0 for 2 today. The Nationals with 4 hits, 2 runs on the board. That solo homer giving them the 1-run lead. Here's the next pitch. Nope. He throws it over to first base. Runner's back. It's funny because they said that Young has 10 stolen bases and he's been thrown out 9 times, but Magnum P.I. fires his gun and gets the strikeout there against C.J. Abrams, so it doesn't matter. Still got that intense look coming off the mound, but you know he's got to be dissatisfied giving up that 1 run. This is the thing that continually bothers me about what's been happening recently with the Astros relievers, where our starters come in the game and they give up either 1 run or 2 runs through 6 innings, you know. Basically 5, 6, 7 innings, they give up almost nothing. And then the relievers come in and give up the same exact amount or more in just 1 or 2 innings. They just totally destroy the starters. Now, if you think about how crazy that is, it really, really is crazy. That you've got a guy who's making millions of dollars a year, and his only job is to come in for 1 inning and keep the score the same. That means that they either don't hit the ball or they hit the ball to where you can get it easily. And they don't hit it out of the park. They definitely don't hit it out of the park. That's their only job. Do not let them score for just 1 inning. And then suddenly they just get blown up. It's pretty amazing to me. You would think in a situation like that, it would be so much harder for the hitters to adjust to these relievers coming in. But the Astros relief has had some struggles recently with giving up too many runs. Of course, we need to score runs, but whenever the other team is winding up with 5, 6, 7 runs, I mean, you're putting too much pressure on your bats. Even a good batting team can't be scoring 5, 6, 7 runs a game. That's too much to ask. Way too much to ask. Christian Walker is due up in just a moment. 0 for 2 today, followed by Jacob Melton and Yainer Diaz. I was really hoping that the Astros would just decide, you know what, screw it, and go all in and get Ohtani, so we could actually have a new star on the team who was capable of destroying the ball. Think about what he could do even hitting the ball opposite field. He would probably have so many home runs in Daikin Park. Luis Garcia is on the mound for the Nationals. First pitch. Wow, that was a strike, but called a ball low and outside. Next pitch from Garcia on the way to Walker, the 1-0. He goes up the middle, all the way out to right center field. That's going to get all the way to the wall, almost to the wall, to the track. Walker can stroll into second base, standing up. How about that? A leadoff double for Christian Walker. That's what we're needing to do to Brad Lord. Get that extra base hit. Nice smooth swing by Walker. 98 mile per hour fastball right in the low part of the plate, right in the low part of the zone. Smooth swing, baby. No outs. Jacob Melton at the plate. Here's the pitch. 98 high and outside. Ball 1. One ball, no strikes to Melton. Here's the pitch. Low and inside. That was actually in the zone, but the catcher moved over so quickly, couldn't frame it well. Called a ball, 2-0. Oh man, can you imagine having Judge here, Juan? You're absolutely right. Judge would probably have 90 home runs here. It would be insane if we had somebody like Judge here. Lone in the dirt, 3-0. By the way, in case you guys didn't know this, highest ERA bullpen in all of baseball belongs to the Washington Nationals. Here comes the 3-0 pitch to Melton. It's slow, ball 4. Melton takes it right down the middle. We have runners on first and second. Catcher is going to come out to the mound along with the pitching coach, Hickey. That's an interesting name to have, Hickey. I haven't heard that name in a long time, or that word in a long time, Hickey. Hickey. Jordan says, I read something about Freeman punching Ohtani. Really? I didn't read anything about that. That's interesting. Okay, Yainer Diaz at the plate, guys, with runners on first and second, facing Luis Garcia. Here's the toss. He hits that one foul, lifts it way up into the air. Man, straighten that one out. Flies way up into the crowd, off on the left side. 0-1 is the count. Maybe fish-eyed fool, maybe. Talking about Hickey. Here comes the 0-1 pitch to Yainer. Ground ball to shortstop, could be a double play. Yeah, they got the double play there, but the runner moves to third. Walker on third base with 2 outs. Goodness gracious. Big opportunity there. Slightly blown up by Yainer Diaz, eliminating our base runner. 2 away with Doobie at the plate. We had the old double last at bat. Let's see if he can come up with something here to take the or get us back in the game. Goes after the first pitch again. Line drives it too early down the third baseline. Batting .254. with runners in scoring position. 0-1 is the count. Here comes the pitch. Oh, man, don't go after that. 84 miles an hour. Swiffer in the dirt. Swing and a miss. 0-2. 2 outs, runner at third. 0-2 against Doobie. Is Freeman up for trade? Here's a pitch. In the dirt again. Another Swiffer. Doobie doesn't chase that one. 1-2 is the count. 3 hits for the Stros, 4 for the Nationals. Stros need to get serious. We got to tie it up here. We really need to come away with a tie right here. Here's the 1-2 pitch. And the dirt again. Man, he's throwing that Swiffer like crazy, but he hasn't thrown a single one not in the dirt. It's like he's trying to give us a run. Catcher's been able to keep it in front of him. It looks like Garcia's trying to gift us a run by giving a wild pitch. I think he's trying to throw the Swiffer again. The catcher keeps trying to change it, and he's shaking his head no. Here comes the toss. 99 miles an hour below. He takes that one for ball 3. The count is full. Bryce Matthews on deck. 3-2 to Doobie with 2 outs. Walker on third. Doobie's going to take a little time out. 89 people following along. Thank you so much for being here today. 49 likes. Thank you. If you haven't liked the live stream, please do so now. Here comes the full count pitch to Doobie. Inside. Oh, I did him wrong. 82 on the inside. And he's chatting a little bit with the umpire about that being too far inside. But that's strike 3. I'm not going to be upset with the umpire, though, because, you know, I always say the same thing. If you got 2 strikes on you and you really need a hit, you really need to score, and you don't swing when it's close to the zone, if it's close to the zone, you have to swing the bat. You have to swing the bat. That's on Doobie, not on the umpire. I mean, it was about an inch outside the zone, an inch inside, about an inch from the zone. So technically it was a ball. That's true. But when it's that close, you have to swing the freaking bat. You absolutely have to. Goodness gracious. That's it for the 7th inning. The Astros get 1 hit. Come up with nothing. We had 2 guys on base, and we came up with nothing. 2-1, we're down. We go to the top of the 8th in just a moment. Shoot says Diaz should not be in the lineup any longer. Well, who are you going to replace him with, though? If Yiner were a position player out in the field rather than behind the plate, it would be a different situation. But since he's a catcher, what other choice do we have? I don't see another option. We've got a few players like that, though, don't we? It's kind of like when you look at their performance at the plate, you think, man, we really should not have that guy in the lineup, but where are the options? I mean, half our lineup is minor leaguers and rookies. We're in a difficult situation right now, that's all. Did you guys hear about this? You remember Ryan Sandberg? Great player with the Cubs. He passed away. That's sad news. Several famous people have passed away in the past few days. First pitch is a ball to Alex Call. Brian Abreu is on the mound for the Stros. Too far inside, ball 2. Two balls and no strikes. Here comes a pitch to Call. That's called a strike. The 85-mile-per-hour slider, low and away, 2-1. Yeah, I remember Ryan Sandberg playing when I was a kid. Here's a pitch. Nice. 83-mile-per-hour slider in the bottom of the zone. Starts off with 2 balls, comes back with 2 strikes. 2-2 to Alex Call. Abreu on the mound with a 1.75 ERA. One of the most dependable guys we've had all year long. Here comes the 2-2. Woo! 98 miles an hour on the outside edge. The umpire lit him up immediately. Good call. Beautiful pitch. Look how perfect that was. 98 right on the outside edge. It doesn't get more perfect than that. That was beautiful. I think it's a little much to say that they'd take Salazar over him. Yiner has already proven that he has the ability to play well. He has just slipped. He's been very, very streaky. He goes through a long period of good play and then a long period of terrible play. Here's the next pitch, the 1-0. That's high. Starts off Josh Bell similarly to Alex Call with the 2-0 count. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. 85 right in there. It's exactly the same thing he did the last at bat. Missed with a couple of fastballs. Comes back with a slider for a strike. Is he going to throw another slider here? We'll see. Here's the 2-1. It is a slider, but fouled off. Same exact pitch order as the last at bat. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 fastballs, 2 sinkers, or sliders rather. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, and he went back to the fastball. 97, swing and a foul tip miss. The exact same, I kid you not. There was not a single difference in his pitch order that time than there was the first batter. It was fastball, fastball, slider, slider, fastball. Same result, strikeout. The only difference was the batter swung. In the first at bat, he took the strike. Here's the next pitch. Again, so far, fastball misses, ball 1. There's a pattern going on here. Is he going to throw another fastball? Nathaniel Lowe at the plate. It is another fastball, and it's another ball. I kid you not. Okay, here comes a slider strike. 2 balls and no strikes. Here comes the pitch. It is a slider, but he misses below the zone. Abreu, what are you doing? He's going to throw another slider right here. Here comes the 3-0 pitch. No, he went with the fastball right down the middle. I guess it's because he had a 3-0 count. But you know he wanted to throw that slider. 3 balls and 1 strike to Nathaniel Lowe. Here comes the pitch from Abreu. 97 in the top of the zone, fouled back. Full count. So what does he go with here? Does he go with the slider to try to get that swing and a miss, or does he try to get him out on the fastball? I think fastball. I'm going fastball. Here's a 3-2 pitch. He does go fastball, but it's too far inside and low for ball 4. Nathaniel Lowe gets walked with 2 outs. So far, Abreu has only thrown sliders and fastballs. That's it. And he's going with the same progression. His progression has been exactly the same. 2 fastballs, 2 sliders, and then back to the fastball. Luis Garcia, the second baseman, is coming up as a pinch hitter. So Josh Miller comes out to the mound to have a little discussion with Abreu. Yeah, but you know what, Jordan? we've only been so-so at throwing out runners. It's not like we don't have any catchers with a gun for an arm. They're not bad, but they're not great either. They're just average. Well, the pitcher they had today was not bad, but he can be destroyed if you can get extra base hits. But we didn't do that. We got like one. Luis Garcia Jr. is at the plate, takes the first pitch for ball one. There's a runner on first with 2 outs. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. He grounds that one foul. 1-1 on that slider. I'll have to take a look at their other pitchers to see how they compare with this guy today. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, 89-mile-per-hour slider at the bottom of the zone. Good pitch. 1-2 is the count. Here comes the 1-2. Nope, he goes to first base. Just to reset the clock, looks like. Nothing serious there. Next pitch is fouled off. 87 at the bottom of the zone. He's able to get the bat on it. Count remains 1-2. Michael Soroka is pitching tomorrow. He is 3-8 with a 4.85 ERA. 76th in the league in strikeouts. Definitely not better than the pitcher they had today. Here comes the 1-2 pitch to Garcia Jr. In the dirt, low and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Let's see here. Last game, he pitched 5.2 innings, gave up 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts, 3 walks, no homers. Didn't do too bad, but he lost. Slider. He took it, couldn't handle it. He just froze up like a deer in the headlights. Strikeout for Abreu, and that is the 3rd out. So we get through the 8th inning without giving up any extra runs. 2-1, the Nationals are up. Astros coming up to bat here in just a moment. Curious to see if we'll have a different pitcher or the same guy on the mound. We'll find out in just a moment. Yeah, you're right, Jordan. Maldonado, that's one thing I missed about Maldonado. He was pretty good at throwing guys out at second base, but that was about it. He was a good catcher, and he could throw the ball well, but of course he was slow as molasses, and he couldn't hit the ball well. So, it's kind of hard to have everything. Soroka is not what I would say is good. I would not say he's good. I mean, look at his stats for the year. His ERA is almost 5. And he's 3 for his win-loss record is 3-8. 3 wins and 8 losses. I wouldn't necessarily say that he's a stellar pitcher. Now, he did have a pretty good game his last game. But overall, let's see here. Innings pitched, 78. Hits given up, 64. Runs scored, 42. And All earned. 10 home runs, 24 walks. It's essentially he's giving up a run every 2 innings. That's his average, giving up a run every 2 innings. Jose Ferrer is in the game for the Nationals, facing Matthews. 97 miles an hour, right in there for strike 1. Here comes the next pitch. Swing and a miss. The ball was in the dirt. 88 mile per hour changeup. Matthews is 0 for 2 today. We need you to do something right now. This is likely your last opportunity unless we tie it up and go into extra innings. Do something, Matthews. Outside. Ball 1. That's something. 1 and 2. I don't really pay attention to what the fans are saying. I just look at the stats and the recent performance. Here's a pitch. 98 up and out, but a delayed strike 3 call. This is the second time that Astros have been called on a strike outside the zone. Once again, it was close. It was about an inch outside, but outside nonetheless. Strike number 3, out number 1. Zach Short at the plate. But Zach Short is not going to bat. Chasmanian Devil. Who are we going to see today? The Chasmanian Devil or the Chasmabian Devil? We'll find out shortly. McCormick at the plate, pinch hitting for Short in the 8th inning. Zach Short was 0 for 2 today with only a couple of groundouts. Nothing going on there. Here comes the first pitch from Ferrer. 88 below the zone. Ball 1. Good take. Is it Ferrer? Or Ferrer? Or Ferre? Ferrer. I think it's Ferrer. Here comes the 1-0 pitch from Ferrer. Swing and a miss. 99 right in the middle of the zone. Couldn't have been much more perfectly placed in the middle of the zone. Swing and a miss by McCormick. Got to get around a little bit faster. 1-1 is the count. Here comes the toss. 100 low and away, but in the zone for strike 2. 1 and 2 to McCormick. They're just tossing him heat right now. Here comes the 1 and 2. 100 outside, swing and a miss. All he had to do was throw that one out of the zone. Throw a fastball out of the zone. McCormick was going to go after it. Out of fear. Swung the bat out of fear. Strike 3. Cooper Hummel is batting for Trammell. I'm not so sure how I feel about that. I know that Hummel is a right-hander. He's a switch hitter. But he's not particularly good at either side, so I don't know. We'll see. Here's the pitch. 100 miles an hour is low and inside. Ball 1. You used to get Urquidy and Hector Neris mixed up, really? I think they're very different. 99 miles an hour inside. Urquidy was a starter. Neris is a reliever. And they look very different. They have different pitching styles. And their names are very different. 2 balls and no strikes to Hummel with 2 outs. Nobody on. Here's the toss. This is ripped to the left side for a single. How about that? Hummel manages to get that one on a 98 mile per hour fastball. Ground ball just through the hole. They're showing some highlights of Altuve having 9 3-hit games during July of 2017, a tie for the team record of most 3-hit games in a month. Altuve's at the plate right now. Two outs, runner on first. Here's a pitch to Altuve in the dirt. Almost got him in the foot. 1 ball and no strikes. Yeah, sometimes I do that with certain guys. Like, actually, I got Neris mixed up with a pitcher from that used to be with the Rangers. What was the guy's name? He can throw over 100 miles an hour. This hit hard to left field, a line drive shot, but picked up on the hop. And Hummel is thrown out at second base, so Altuve, even though he ripped it really hard, man, he was all over that pitch. But it was right at the shortstop. Once again, the Astros getting unlucky. What a rip by Altuve. 4 hits for the Astros, 4 hits for the Nationals. This game is 2-1 going into the top of the 9th. Well, so far my prediction is correct about the Nationals score. I predicted they would score 2. So far that's correct. But the Astros are 3 runs behind where I thought they'd be. Let's see here. Let me do a little poll. Why not? There we go. Boom. What do you think about this game? You think that we're going to lose? We're going to win? Are we going to go into extra innings? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? There we go. What TV guy predicted the Astros to score -1 run? Who said that? That's crazy. Josh Hader on the mound for the Astros. So it looks like they're serious about trying to keep the game close this time. They weren't the other day. Here's the first pitch. Swing and a miss. 93-mile-per-hour sinker to Dalen Lyle. 0-1 is the count. So the Astros are going to try to keep the score where it's at. 93, swing and a miss. 0-2 is the count. Thank you, Casey, for liking the stream. I appreciate that. We're up to 61 likes. View count has been down since the Astros playing has been down. So as the Astros go, so goes my channel, I guess you could say. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. How about that? 94 on the outside. 3 pitches, 3 strikes. $18 strikeouts for Astros pitchers today. That's crazy. 18 strikeouts. Here comes the next pitch. 93, a little high and outside for ball 1. Well, the good thing is that we at least we had the pitching going today, Crispy, right? We have a chance here at the end. The other games, we didn't even have a chance. Swing and a miss. Ball 1, strike 1. 1 out. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss again. 93 in the bottom of the zone on the sinker. 1-2 from Hader. Is he going to serve him up the Haterade? Here it comes. Swing and a miss. Another strikeout. 19 strikeouts for the Astros today. Tommy Likey. Tommy want swingy. Here comes the pitch to Lowe. I'm sorry, Adams, not Lowe. That's another strike. 0-1 with 2 outs, nobody on. Here comes the pitch. Man, look at that. 82 in the dirt. Adams goes after it. He's gone golfing. He's gone golfing. 0-2 is the count with 9 pitches. Oh and 2. Here comes the pitch. In the dirt. Ball 1. Adams holding back on that slider. 2 outs, 1-2. Astros are up to 19 strikeouts this game. That's crazy. Striking out 19 batters. The pitchers have been amazing. Here's a toss. This is hit up the middle, and it's going to be... No, Matthews gets back there. I thought I was going to be down, but Matthews is able to catch it for out number 3. How about that? Through 9 innings, the Astros have struck out 19 batters. That's insane. That means more than 2/3 of all of the outs the Astros have gotten in this game came from strikeouts. That's nuts. And yet, the Nationals are still up 2-1 because of our lethargic offense. So for a decent change, our problem today has not been the relief pitching or the starting pitching. We are very much in this game. If we're unable to extend this game and win it or walk it off, then you have to blame it 100% on the hitting. But I'm not surprised. I mean, look at the lineup. It literally right now is kind of the Space Cowboys versus the Nationals. You could say this is what happens when a decent minor league team plays a not so decent MLB team. Except you give your minor league team good pitching, good pitchers. It is time to win. Let's see what the poll says so far. Okay, so the majority of you right now, almost half of you, think that we're going to go into extra innings. I would definitely prefer extra innings over a loss, that's for sure. So far, the only run is that double by Doobie that scored Diaz. Bottom of the 9th, guys and gals. It all comes down to this. Victor Caratini at the plate. He's going to be facing a new pitcher. Kyle Finnegan. .45 ERA as the closer for the Nationals. 31 strikeouts in 38 innings. So he's not a big strikeout guy. ERA is not stellar for a closer. Here's the first pitch to Caratini. Caratini grounds it to the first base side, the very first pitch, and he's thrown out. 1 away. Just like that. Christian Walker to the plate. Walker, how about a Crawford box special to tie up this game? I mean, that's one of the main reasons why you're here, I think. Predis more so, but you're the guy right now. Here comes the first pitch from Finnegan. Walker hits the first pitch but fouls it off. 98 miles an hour right down the center of the plate. Finnegan's name reminds me of Bennigan's, the chain. Do you guys remember Bennigan's? Is that even in existence anymore? They used to have the most awesome Monte Cristo sandwich. It was amazing. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. In the dirt. Walker goes around halfway. Strike two. What are you doing, man? Don't see him chase crap like that very often. All we need is one run, tie it up. Then we can see about picking up a second one. But right now, let's just get the one. Too late to be bunting. You got to be swinging for them fences. Here comes the 0-2 pitch from Finnegan. Walker taps this one back to the pitcher, a half swing. That's an easy out. So a ground ball to the first baseman, then a half swing tapper back to the mound. The Astros are down to their last out. Jacob Melton, his first game back with the Astros since coming back from his rehab assignment. His success today is one walk. Here comes the first pitch from Kyle Finnegan. Melton hits it hard to the left field side, all the way out to the Crawford boxes, and just foul. Are you kidding me? It had home run distance. Home run distance, and it was just slightly foul of the pole. That was almost an opposite field home run. Look at this. Look how close. Just a couple of feet to the left of the foul pole. 0-1 is the count to Melton. Here comes the next pitch. In the dirt, ball one. 1-1. Yeah, man. Jordan, that Monte Cristo was amazing. Especially with the raspberry sauce. Ugh. Never had anything like it before or since. Here comes the pitch. Fouled. 89 miles an hour below the zone on the splitter. He managed to get a hold of it a little bit, but 1-2 is the count. How did I know that, says Jordan? Because that's the way things have gone for the Astros recently, right? Here comes a 1-2 pitch. Come on, Melton. He taps that one foul just down the first base line. Count remains 1-2. We need it, Jordan. We need that breakout. We need that big hit. If Melton comes in out of the rehab and gets a big hit here, that would be a huge boost for the Astros. Here's the pitch. Low and inside, good take. 2 balls and 2 strikes. That was a 98 mile per hour pitch. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Melton looking quite serious. Here comes the toss. Swing and a miss in the dirt. 87 mile per hour splitter, and he goes down. That's going to be it for the Astros today. They lose 2-1. 2-1. Let's go ahead and close the poll. Everybody's saying loss. It's funny how it changes. It changes as the result of the inning goes by. People are changing their votes or voting differently. But Framber Valdez pitches an amazing game today. But thankfully, he doesn't get a loss. He gets a no decision. He did not deserve that loss, that's for sure. Well, anything would have been better than that. Anything better than an out. a strikeout, a line out, a fly out, a ground out. Any of those things would have been just as bad as a strikeout. All we needed was a big hit. Melton almost came up with it. He missed it by just about 2 feet. 2 feet, guys. We almost had a tie game with just 2 feet of space from the foul pole, but it didn't work out. Astros lose game number 1 against the Nationals. Game 2 tomorrow is going to be at the same time, and I'll see you here tomorrow for that. I'm not sure yet. Let me refresh the screen. Let me see if the Astros have announced a starting pitcher. As far as I know, they have not. So I don't know who's pitching for the Astros tomorrow. Who knows? Who knows? It's anybody's guess. I'm not sure if they've really got a good option for tomorrow, but we'll find out soon enough. Just to give you a really quick... Yeah, thank you guys and gals for being here. I really do appreciate it. I know it's difficult to follow the games when the Astros are on a losing streak like this, but look at the bright side. I mean, how would you feel right now if Jordan and Pena and Myers and all of our pitchers were in the lineup? If we didn't have really any major players on the injury list and we were going through this losing streak, how would you feel then? You would feel like the season is completely hopeless because all of our stars, all of our best players are not getting it done. But right now, we're just in a bad position. We're playing with guys that are filling in for guys who were filling in for guys. You know what I'm saying? So I know it's difficult. Let's just bear with it, okay? Let's not lose hope. Let's just bear with it. Finnegan's Rainbow. I think there was another show that I saw on TV that had the name Finnegan in it, but I can't remember what it was. And you're welcome, Jordan. Thank you for being here. Try to release some stress, right? Christina, you're welcome. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I mean, the Mariners have got some good pitching going on. If they get their hitting together, then they're going to be really dangerous. So let's hope that the Astros can get it together in time to keep them a little held back. We'll see. Texas is losing and Seattle's winning. Okay. Yeah, I'm about to look at those scores in just a minute. I see that Texas is losing 2-0 in the 4th inning to the Angels. The Mariners are only winning 1-0 to the A's in the top of the 2nd. Still plenty of time for the A's to come back and win that. Hopefully they're able to do it. But I do want to do a quick recap of the game. It's really short. Dubon scored the only run for the Astros in this game. He doubled in the 5th inning, giving the Astros their only lead that they've had in a long time to lead off the game, 1-0. But in the top of the 6th, Lowe doubled to right, scoring a run. Adams solo homered in the 7th to give the Nationals another run, and that's where the game would end up 2-1. Framber Valdez had a great game today. Actually, the Astros pitchers had a great game today. Freaking 19 strikeouts. Can you believe that? 19 strikeouts, and we lost the game. Framber Valdez, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run. That one came as a result of an error by the umpire calling a strike, or calling a strike a ball, which led to a hit and a run. That would have been out number 3. But, you know, can't blame that, really. You have to blame the Astros bats, because even if you take that run back, we go into extra innings and we might lose anyway. So that's kind of a wash. It's the Astros bats, you know, but what can you do? Only 2 walks, 12 strikeouts by Valdez. A masterful performance again by Valdez. Brian King, 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 earned run. Unfortunately, the solo homer, and that's the one that put the nail in the coffin. Abreu had 1 inning pitched and 3 strikeouts. And by the way, King also added 2 strikeouts. Josh Hader pitched a good inning, a good clean inning. No walks, no strikes. No earned runs, no hits, no walks, none of that. 2 strikeouts. Astros pitching 19 strikeouts today. The pitchers for the Nationals gave up 4 hits. So hits today were the same. It was a pitching duel, basically. The Nationals and the Astros both with 4 hits, but the one that mattered the most was that second hit for the Nationals that went over the fence. That one won the game, and the Astros just couldn't muster any offense. So there you go. Tomorrow's game, let's take a quick look at that and see what we got. I think I can show it on the screen. They're actually predicting the Astros at a 68% chance to win, even though we don't have a pitcher decided yet for this game. We're going to be facing Michael Soroka. He's the starting pitcher for tomorrow, 4.85 ERA. Very hittable, but once again, for this lineup, for this Astros lineup, you never know if they're actually going to be able to hit him tomorrow or not, but we'll see. This game starts at the same time in Japan. It's going to be at 9:10 a.m. I'll be here at 9 a.m. It's already scheduled. If you guys and gals want to be here for that game tomorrow and listen in, be sure to click the notify me on my video. If you go to the video for tomorrow, there's a little button that says notify me. It will send you an alert about 30 minutes before the game. Even if you're subscribed, you don't automatically get an alert. You have to turn the notifications on. And you can actually turn on all notifications for my channel, so every time there's going to be a game, it always notifies you. If you haven't turned that on, you can do that. That's it for that. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. That's more interesting than what happened today with the Astros, right? Let's see. Anything of note? The Rangers still losing 2-0 at the end of the 4th. They're going into the top of the 5th. Let's see here. Wow, look at that. The Pirates are beating the Giants 4-3 in the 2nd. Amazing. The Mariners still up 1-0 over the A's in the bottom of the 2nd. The Blue Jays got destroyed by the Orioles. Look at that. You see that? 11-4. How about that? That's good news, right? Good news. You see, there's some good out there. Unfortunately, the Tigers beat the Diamondbacks 5-1. Their Melton's getting it done. 7 scoreless innings by Troy Melton. The Rays beat the Stanks, so the Stankies are at 57-49. That's nice. Freaking Dodgers. The Curbs lost 8-4 to the Brewers. Keep losing, Curbs. Let's see, anything else? And then the last score there doesn't matter. Womp womp. Who cares about that? All I can say is thank you all for being here today. And I'm about to go lie out in the sun and get some more vitamin D3 into my body. Every day, I'm now going out into the sun in the middle of the day and lying out for about 20 minutes. I was going to do 15, but I felt I could keep going yesterday. The more D3, the better. Time to get better. Time to get healthy. Get rid of this cough. Get rid of this tumor. And get my energy back. Let's see what we got going in the live chat before I get out of here. Fox at Bat, you said it. I'm an Astros fan, win or lose, so here we are. I agree. Same thing for me. Always been an Astros fan. Win or lose, who else am I going to root for? I've got nobody else to root for. And Jordan says we'll get hot again. Remember the win one, lose one, the first part of the season, the Rangers have gained 6 games on us. That's true. Luckily, the Astros built a lead by the All-Star break, so there's a thin cushion there, but we're lucky that we have the cushion at all. You know what I'm saying? It's better than just lying on the ground, lying on the rocks. We're not lying on the concrete, and better yet, the concrete is not lying on us. We have a little cushion. We can be, I wouldn't say comfortable, but you know, we've got some time to try to get it together. We need that time to get our guys back and get healthy. Yeah, we can end up in first place. We can do it. We might not be able to get the AL, but then again, we're not too far out. Who knows? Who knows? A lot of the top teams are struggling in the MLB right now. A lot of them. It's not just the Astros. So that's good news. Yeah, I think we can get hot again. We just need some guys back. You're right, Charlie. It does suck as a fan, but what can we do? It's out of our control. And I know to an extent it's up to Crane. To an extent, it's up to Crane. He can't control everything. He can't decide suddenly to just snap his fingers and make the team win again. He can't do that. But he does have a big part to play, so you're right about that. Jordan, I wouldn't say that we always play down to our competition. I know that people have said that a lot, but I disagree. There are two reasons why. First of all, like I said, I used to play a lot of sports, and I played mainly for fun, but I played on some serious teams before, and one of the things that I learned is that playing down to teams that are worse than you is something that does not happen all the time. It happens sometimes. So if the Astros are consistently playing down to other teams, there has to be another reason. But that reason is obvious, isn't it? Look at our lineup. Our lineup is full of minor leaguers and rookies. Like I said before, we've got guys who are playing in starting positions on a daily basis who replaced guys who are replacements for other guys. And that's not a joke. So you can't say that we're playing down. If you take a minor league team who's so-so and you put them in against the A's or the Nationals, if they win, great. But if they keep losing games to the, quote, bad MLB teams, is it because they're playing down? Is it really because they're playing down? Or is it because of the skill level difference and the experience level difference? It's obviously because of the skill and the experience. Because look at what Fromber did today. Look what the pitching staff did. The Astros pitching staff only gave up 2 runs and struck out 19 guys. How is that playing down? That's not playing down. You might say, well, the batters are playing down. Well, Trammell is our leadoff hitter. We've got Cam Smith. Now, he was off today, but Bryce Matthews in the lineup. We've got Zach Short in the lineup. We've got Jacob Melton, who just came back from rehab assignment in the minors. We had Cooper Hummel come in the game. You know, it's like we don't have A-lister guys filling out our lineup. So if we had a good lineup and then we were losing against teams like the A's and the Nationals, then I would agree with you that we're playing down, but we're not playing down. We're just playing at the level we're capable of right now. That's the truth. That's my personal opinion, because when I look at this situation, it would be easy to just say, oh, the Astros are just, they play really well against the Dodgers and they play really well against, or they play really poorly against these poor teams. Actually, I think they got really, really lucky. They got really, really lucky against the Dodgers. I mean, scoring 18 runs, and of course, the Dodgers didn't have necessarily their best on the mound, but our pitchers, somehow McCullers had a stellar game, right? But look at what he's done outside of that. He's not playing down. That's just who he is. And some of our rookies got really lucky. We just got really lucky at the right time. And what's happening right now is not really surprising to me. It is a little disappointing. That's for sure. But I can't complain about it. You know, it's what we have right now. It's all we have. If you sit down at a table to play cards and they give you 5 cards and those are the cards you must play, if you can change some of your cards, so you change them, and then they let you change the cards again and you change them. And actually, think about this. The third hand is worse than the first hand. And the third hand is worse than the second hand. That's literally what the Astros are playing with right now. Can you imagine that? Playing poker, and you have the opportunity to throw away like 3 cards. You keep your 2 best cards, and then you throw away the other cards. And you get new cards back, and now your hand is actually worse than it was before. And when you look at it, you think maybe maybe I get rid of one of these other cards and then this card. And so you toss away 2 more. And then you get 2 more cards. And now your hand is even worse. That's basically how things have gone for the Astros this year, so that they're winning it all. If you can take a hand like that and you can actually win against any team, then it's a lot of it has to do with just luck. So can't complain too much about that. It might be a tight race. I agree with that. The division might be really tight. We'll see. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the pitch clock, Charlie. I will say that I would like the strike zone. I would much prefer that. Or maybe if they gave them a little bit more time on the pitch clock and then they did the strike zone challenge, I think that would be good. That would help the game out. It would have helped the game out today. It would have taken a run away from the Nationals on a terrible pitch. I mean, I say terrible, a not good strike call. It should have been a strike when Fromber was pitching. That should have been strike 3. And Max says, I believe and declare our injury will return and will make the most epic late season run in history. That's what I think. That's what I believe. That's what I think for sure. So I keep looking forward to that as being right now. So what's happening right now is just an appearance. The truth is what comes later. Yeah, I believe it'll be okay, Chris. No worries. But that's going to be it for the live stream today, I believe. Nothing else really to say. I appreciate you all being here once again. Thank you for the subscribing. Didn't get any super chats or donations today, but if you're able to do that, feel free to do so. The links are in the description. I've got PayPal, Patreon. I've got one-time donations. I've got subscription donations. If you want to use the custom emojis in the chat, you can get a membership, a monthly membership. It's super cheap. It's only a few dollars a month. Seriously, it's less than $5 a month for the first level. I think the second level might even be under $5 a month, I believe. But at any level, you can use the emojis, the custom emojis in the chat, and that is a donation to my channel, so I appreciate that. And if you just make a donation like a super chat or you send me a donation, that's appreciated, but you're not able to use the custom emojis in the chat. Anyway, thank you all for the likes, the subs, any of the donations that come. Thank you so much. I am going to go lie out in the sun, get some more vitamin D, and then cook myself some lunch. From Hiroshima, Japan, until tomorrow, all I will say is go Stros, and thank you so much.